Submission does not mean a wife is to act out of fear toward her husband. Verse 6, second half of the verse again. You are Sarah's children, if you do good and do not fear anything that is frightening. In other words, your submission is free, not coerced. You give it because King Jesus summons you into this relationship to give it, not because you're cowering before this man. When she submits as a freed woman. She's Christ's freed woman. That's what submission is not. Those 6 things. What is it? 3 weeks ago, I gave you a definition. I'll give it again and unpack it a little bit. Submission is the divine calling of a wife to honor and affirm her husband's leadership and help carry it through according to her gifts. Say it another way. It's a disposition to follow a husband's authority and an inclination, notice these are heart words here, not behavior words only. A disposition to follow the husband's authority and an inclination to yield to his leadership. It's an attitude that says things like this. Let me put some words in your mouth, women, and see if they feel like, okay, I want to talk like that. Wife to husband, I delight for you to take the initiative in our family. I am glad when you take responsibility for things and lead with love. I don't flourish in this relationship when you're passive and I have to make the family work. Frankly, I think almost all married women want to talk like that. I think that is a true expression of what God calls a woman to be. I'll say it again. I delight, husband, in you taking initiative in our family. That makes me happy. I am glad when you take responsibility for things and lead in love. And I don't flourish as much in this relationship when you're passive and I have to do what has to be done to make this family work. Close quote. Submission does not follow the husband into sin, I've said. So what if he asks you to do something you believe King Jesus would forbid? What do you say to him? Can submission function at that point in saying no? How would submission say no to an authoritative join me in an act she cannot, with a conscience, join him in? And I'll give you the words that I think should come out of your mouth. It grieves me when you venture into sinful acts and want to take me with you. You know that. You know who I am. You know I'm a Christian. It grieves me when you ask me to follow you into this. You know I can't do that. I have no desire to resist you. You can add whatever word you use. Honey, sweetheart, darling, Johnny. I hope not. I have no desire to resist you. On the contrary, I flourish most when I can respond joyfully to your lead. But I can't follow you into sin. As much as I love to honor your leadership in our marriage, Christ is my King. I think that's the way submission says no. Submission says no. It has to say something like that if 1 Peter 3, 1-6 says what it says. The reason I said a few minutes ago, as I tried to unpack that definition, that submission is a disposition to follow a husband's authority and an inclination to yield, is that those dispositions and those inclinations can be there and a wife disagree with the direction a husband's about to go. Can you make that distinction? Her heart is really inclined to follow. Her heart is really eager for him to be the leader, and he's about to make a decision that she thinks is really bad. Now, I'm talking about Christian. I'm talking about Noel and John. So, I'll try to put words into Noel's mouth. I was hoping she's going to be here tonight for this, but she couldn't because Talitha was still asleep after a sleepover. She'll be here tomorrow, and I'll be down in Burnsville. But suppose John, having talked with his wife a long time, is still about to make a very stupid decision, as Noel considers stupidity. He obviously doesn't think it's stupid, or he wouldn't be doing it. But she thinks it's a foolish decision. I don't know, could be financial, could be something around the house, whatever. It's not sin. We're not talking about sin here. Just, why would you do that? What should she do? So here's what I think she should say. Johnny, I know you've thought a lot about this, and I love it when you take the initiative and think a lot about things and plan for us and take the responsibility like this, but really, I don't have peace about this decision. And I think we need to talk about it some more. So could we? Like maybe tonight or lunch on Monday? Close quote. Now, there are 4 reasons why I think that is submission. Here they are. Number 1, because husbands, unlike Christ, are fallible and should admit it, that they need wisdom from their wives, especially as regards family things. Number 2, this is probably the most important, because husbands ought to want their wives to be excited about family decisions, since Christ wants the church to be excited about His decisions. He does not want begrudging obedience from the church. I think this is a stupid decision, Jesus, but you're God and I'll follow you. He does not want that. That's not honoring to King Jesus, and husbands don't want that kind of following. Number 3, because of the way she spoke to me. She found a way verbally to endorse my leadership, express delight in my usual patterns of behavior. Not this one. And number 4, this is the most controversial, probably. She has made it clear since 1966, 2 years before we were married. She has made it clear to me and reaffirmed it year after year along the way, sometimes explicitly, sometimes implicitly, that if we have talked about this as long as we can talk, and you, John Piper, still think you should do that, your decision holds, and I'm backing it. That's what my wife would say if she were sitting here. She would nod up and down. That's right. I do say that. In a good marriage, it almost never comes to that. But the fact that she's willing to say it is huge for a man and for Christ. So I end with a reminder that marriage is not mainly about staying in love. Marriage is mainly about covenant keeping. And the reason it is mainly about covenant keeping is because it's mainly about the relationship between Christ and His covenant people, the church,